unfair. Why don't I get to make a closing statement first? After all, I am the pres...
Sorry, but I think we all needed a break. Isn't that satisfying? Just not to hear his voice for a single goddamn second.
He never wanted to play Donald Trump. The moment Saturday Night Live called, his instinct was to say a firm no. He wasn't a fan of Trump, but it wasn't just that. The idea of impersonating him seemed exhausting. Trying to capture that voice, those mannerisms, all that nonsense. It sounded like a full-time headache. So Baldwin's answer was simple. No way. But then something unexpected happened. His friends pushed him. Tina Fey, Lorne Michaels, comedy legends kept nudging him. They believed in him. Maybe, just maybe, there was more to this than just another sketch.
Cannot wait to see the look on those Mexicans' faces when you make them pay for that wall. They say it's going to cost $25 billion.
Fantastic, Pedro. Thank you very much. $25 billion, it can't be that much. Oh, God. Oh, God, don't worry, Donald. It'll be okay. Hillary's still ahead in the polls.
Mr. Trump?
Alec Baldwin, is he going to get arrested?
I don't know. Look, he's been trouble from day one. He did the imitation of me for years. I thought he was terrible.
Imitate him.
Well, no, I thought it was...
It wasn't about the impression anymore. It was about the challenge. And let's be honest, there was comedy gold just waiting to be mined. So, Baldwin finally caved. He threw on the wig, puckered his lips, stepped onto that stage, and in seconds, it was game over. Baldwin had cracked the Trump code. But here's where it gets wild. Trump hated it. He absolutely hated it. The more Baldwin exaggerated the pout, the hand gestures, the rambling, the angrier Trump got. He called SNL unwatchable, slammed Baldwin online, and tweeted insults at 2 a.m. But here's the twist. Every time Trump lashed out, Baldwin's impression only got bigger. The audience grew. People tuned in just to see what would happen.
Wears the biggest mask I've ever seen, and he's standing like 200 feet away from everybody. Oh.
Look, man, I'm a nice guy, but if you give me any more guff tonight, I'll rip your face off like a mad chimp. I'll knock that thing off your head and burn it. Bury it in the pet cemetery where it came from. Stop it, Joe.
It wasn't just a comedy bit anymore. It became a political statement, a piece of history. But how did Baldwin nail it so perfectly? How did he go from a no to being the Trump impersonator? And why did it get under Trump's skin so badly? That's where the story really begins. At first, Baldwin didn't want the role when SNL asked him to portray Trump. It wasn't about politics, it was about the challenge. Baldwin believed that great impersonations came from respect. And frankly, he had no respect for Trump. The thought of mimicking that voice, those bizarre mannerisms, the constant rambling, it sounded miserable. Why would he want to spend every day trapped in that mindset?
It'd be hard. I thought he did terrible. I thought he was terrible at it. They have other people that do much better.
But the pressure from Tina Fey, Lorne Michaels, two of the most influential names in comedy, insisting that Baldwin was the only one for the job. They believed this could be bigger than just a sketch. So Baldwin finally agreed. And when he got into that first dress rehearsal, everything clicked. The wig, the lips, the hand gestures, the awkward pauses, the way Trump would stretch for words but never find them, it was all there. Baldwin had unlocked something brilliant. What started as hesitation transformed into comedic gold. And here's the thing. Becoming Trump wasn't just about throwing on a wig and making a face. Baldwin had to transform into him. It started with hours of makeup, layers of orange, the ridiculous wig, the right amount of fake tan. But the real challenge? The voice. Trump didn't just talk. He rambled. He searched for words that were never quite there. Baldwin studied it. The rhythm, the pauses, the over-the-top emphasis on random words. He practiced pursing his lips, squinting his eyes, pushing his mouth into that weird, pouty shape. Every gesture, every smirk, it had to be perfect.
Testing. Gina. Huge Gina.
Okay, that was Republican nominee Donald Trump joining us now to discuss more on this.
Now, let me tell you something, okay?
What is that?
I wish that
The hardest part, thinking like Trump, Baldwin had to make nonsense sound confident, presidential. Wild statements had to be delivered as if they were the most important words ever spoken. And that's what made it hilarious. It wasn't just an impression, it was a perfect parody. Baldwin didn't just mimic Trump, he cracked the code. And once he did, there was no stopping him. But the most fascinating part, Trump couldn't handle it. From day one, he ranted about Baldwin's impression. He tweeted, he attacked SNL, called it unwatchable. But every single time Trump lashed out, Baldwin's portrayal got even more
Thank you all for joining us today for this important discussion. It's in no way a publicity stunt. This is a serious, private conversation between three friends, plus 50 reporters with cameras. I'm proud to welcome Kanye West, Yeezus, Yandi, Yadam, Yosain. An amazing guy. Thank you for coming, Kanye.
Yeah, that's right. I flew here using the power of this hat.
That's terrific. We've also got Hall of Fame running back and civil rights advocate Jim Brown. Many people know he was a great lacrosse player. How are you feeling, Jim?
Already pretty nervous.
The tantrum was like free publicity. Trump turned his rage into Baldwin's success. It was like a viral snowball. Baldwin's impression only got funnier, more exaggerated, and more spot on with every meltdown. The impression became more than a joke. It became part of the political conversation. Baldwin didn't just impersonate Trump's voice. He was holding up a mirror to the absurdity of Trump's presidency. Interviews with Baldwin shifted from, "How's your acting career?" to, "What do you think of Trump's latest scandal?" Baldwin didn't just represent the humor of the moment, he was part of the political dialogue. Then came the weirdest part. Baldwin's impression was so good that people started hearing his voice when they listened to the real Trump. The hand gestures, the pouting lips, the rambling, it all started to blur the line between Baldwin's parody and Trump's.
He says climate change is a hoax invented by China.
It's pronounced Gina.
Do you feel you're modeling appropriate and positive behavior for today's youth?
No, next.
So you don't care about the kids?
Anderson, I love the kids, okay? I love them.
Trump's speeches started to sound like they were ripped straight from SNL. At first, it was all fun. Comedy, attention, cultural impact. But soon, Baldwin started to feel trapped. What was supposed to be a temporary gig had turned into a massive, ongoing responsibility. Each week, Baldwin had to keep up with every speech, every scandal, every bizarre...
Everybody, there's only one guy who does the most mediocre impression of me. He fails like a dog. You know who I'm talking about, right? Who is it?
You know, Donald, we could have been great friends.
Why do you say that?
If you had just changed your course 1 degree.
I think you're a dog.
All you needed was a slight change.
Alec, you were so mean to me on the show. The way you portrayed me, it was so unfair. And Stormy Daniels knows it. Alec Baldwin. Well, Alec, let me tell you, the way you look at me, it makes me sick. And you're a nasty guy, and you should be ashamed of that. Well, what do you say to that?
I say, you came, you left. I doubt you're ever coming back. God bless America.
China.
It wasn't just comedy. It started to feel like a duty, and mentally, it wore him down. Then, of course, came the backlash. Trump's supporters were furious. Hate messages flooded in. Threats even started coming in. Baldwin had been in Hollywood for decades, but nothing had stirred this much anger and obsession. He thought about quitting more than once, but every time, Trump would say something new, something impossible to ignore. And Baldwin knew. Whether he liked it or not, he was part of this story until the very
Hillary's a woman, and the media need to start making this president look good.
Poopity scoop. Scoop the poop. Poop the scoop the poop. Poopity scoop.
Hey, Jim, you want to add anything?
Add? I got a couple of
Alec
subtractions.
Baldwin's Trump impression didn't just leave people laughing. It left a permanent mark on political satire. From Chevy Chase's clumsy Gerald Ford to Will Ferrell's goofy George W. Bush, SNL had always poked fun at presidents. But Baldwin's Trump, that wasn't just another impression. It became a cultural event. Every Saturday night, millions tuned in, not just for laughs, but to see how Baldwin would tackle the latest headline. Even after Baldwin stepped away, SNL kept the tradition alive. Political parody wasn't just about entertainment, it was about processing reality. Comedy became a weapon against power, exposing the ridiculousness that sometimes hides behind authority. Baldwin's Trump wasn't just funny, It shaped how people saw the real Trump. His exaggerated voice, the lip purse, the endless rambling, it became so iconic that, for many, it was impossible to hear the real Trump without picturing Baldwin's impression. That's the power of parody. It doesn't just mock, it influences. Love it or hate it, Baldwin's Trump became part of history. It wasn't just an impression, it was a defining image of an era. If you enjoyed this, leave a like and subscribe. More videos are up on screen now.